People who are suffering from addictions often feel bored, lethargic, unmotivated, tired, and outright depressed. The feelings that we experience are a direct physical response from our bodies because they are either over or under producing different neurotransmitter chemicals within us. Or in plain English, there is a reason that you're feeling the way that you're feeling. In this video, I'm going to identify 3 different issues that you may experience.
These issues stem from imbalances in 3 neurochemicals: melatonin, dopamine, and serotonin.
These issues are a feeling of exhaustion, a lack of motivation, and a feeling of depression. They all have a chemical reason for why you feel them. Let's start off with exhaustion. Exhaustion can come from a lack of sleep, an irregular sleep pattern, and it can involve things like daytime sleepiness, lack of attention, an inability to focus, restlessness, tiredness, irritability, anger. There's a dozen more you could list out, all negative. As an addict, you can experience a craving at just about any hour, and one main issue that we seem to have in common is a lack of quality sleep and a lack of a sleep schedule. Looking at quality sleep is sleep where you're getting through all of your REM cycles, where you're feeling good in the morning when you wake up and you're actually finding that your sleep was restful and peaceful. Sleep cycles, on the other hand, tie into what's called your circadian rhythm, and that is essentially a very ancient part of your mind that reacts to sunlight and has you release less melatonin when you wake up in the morning compared to when you go to sleep at night. And it has to do with light exposure as well as seeing the sunset. One habit that I've implemented that has really helped me is not just sleeping early, but waking up at the exact same time every day. Some nights you'll get 10 hours of sleep, some nights you'll get 6. But when you wake up at the same time every day, there's a sense of normalcy in your routine, and your body can adapt to that much better than it can adapt to waking up at random times in the day. Someone who wakes up at 8:30 every day will feel more rested after 6 hours of sleep than someone who wakes up after 12 hours of sleep at 2 p.m. Once again, this has to do with the neurochemical of melatonin that's produced. Melatonin is produced by the body as the sun goes down, and it's produced less as the body realizes the sun coming up, which is where this ties back into that ancient sense. Dr. Andrew Huberman is an American neuroscientist who focuses a lot on the issue of circadian rhythm. He recommends that you get exposure to light outdoors within the first 5 minutes of waking up every single day so that your body can regulate itself. I've been doing this for the last 2 months and I feel great. I'm great in the sense that maybe I don't sleep perfectly every night, but my body knows when it's time to get up and get moving. So I'm finding myself snoozing my alarm less and then thus being more productive in my mornings because I'm jumping right out of bed. You can also feel really tired by looking at screens too much, which is all too common in today's world. And sometimes it really can't be avoided. You have to either work on a computer or you have to look at your phone for important business or just even maintaining social connections. But by reducing the amount of light that you're exposed to near the hours that you're going to be going to sleep, you can improve the quality of your sleep and you can actually fall asleep faster. So I noticed that I like to scroll on social media at night and waste a lot of time before I go to bed. My solution to this was to find someone that could manage my passwords for my social media accounts during the week when I needed to go to bed at a specific hour to be productive the next day, and give them back to me on the weekend where I can afford to take my foot off the gas a little bit and scroll a little bit more than I do during the week. I found this to be pretty productive as I'm just using my phone less and I'm falling asleep much faster. The next issue that addicts run into is a feeling of a lack of motivation or also a lack of pleasure doing the things that they used to love doing. This ties directly into the neurotransmitter called dopamine. Dopamine is the neurochemical that allows you to feel motivation and pleasure in the things that you do. It also gives you a feeling of satisfaction when it's released in your brain. The issue that addicts have is that their addictive behaviors produce pleasure beyond their normal baseline for dopamine. As we found out through different research studies, dopamine functions kind of on a wave, and if you're experiencing too much pleasure, you eventually have to come crashing down. But you don't just crash down to your baseline, you crash down below your baseline so that it evens out the peaks and the valleys. So living in a society where we have social media and already our dopamine is out of whack just by scrolling to get little hits from shorts and different videos, adding an addiction on top of that is sending your pleasure receptors through the roof, and you have to come crashing down hard. Which is why addicts tend to live on a scale of either a 10, this is the best day of my life, or a 1, this is rock bottom. There's not a lot of in between because the in between is the old normal, whereas your new baseline is you continuously declining over time in terms of how much pleasure you can feel and how much happiness you can feel as a result. So through my research so far, I found that the solution is to produce some pain in your life. Now, that doesn't sound like a very enticing offer, but the pain that I'm talking about isn't physical pain, it's discomfort. It's reaching out of your comfort zone and doing something like going to the gym or working on a business, working longer than you have ever worked in the past. Something that's pushing you beyond your boundaries so that you can feel this natural pain that will eventually reset itself upwards rather than downwards like you've been doing with your addictions. Another habit that I've been implementing is my diet and trying to eat a high protein diet. Protein produces a neurochemical called tyrosine, which helps to regulate the production of dopamine in the brain. There's also been studies that found that listening to instrumental music can boost your dopamine a little bit, which is nice. You can throw instrumental music into your routine very easily with the access that we have to music in the present world. Other than exercise, the major habit that's helped with my dopamine levels has been meditation. Meditation has been shown to raise dopamine levels up to 65% over a period of time and through repetitions. I use a meditation app called Headspace. I'm not affiliated or sponsored, nor do I get anything out of telling you this, but they do have a 30-day trial where you can do introduction meditations and then you can move to more advanced meditations as well as things like sleep casts. I've found that the meditations, though I'm a complete beginner, have produced a feeling of calmness and have made me be more introspective and slow down during the day, something that's really helped my brain declutter and to feel a lot happier during the day. Lastly, you can feel a huge lack of motivation to do anything except your addiction. A lot of the 12-step books talk about decreased ambition and efficiency as a result of your addiction. That is completely true. And that's not just a random fact either. It's because of your production of serotonin. Serotonin and dopamine are very tied together in terms of how they affect the brain, but serotonin specifically has an impact on your mood and your efficiency. Serotonin plays an important role in your ability to learn, to retain information, to stay focused. The lack of serotonin has been shown to increase your likelihood of depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. Jordan Peterson discusses serotonin production in his book, The 12 Rules for Life, and shows that there's a direct correlation between our perceived status in society and our serotonin output. If we begin to view ourselves as higher ranking people according to our morals and values, we will start to naturally produce more serotonin. He recommends walking with your shoulders back and your posture straight, which is a great idea because studies have shown that your mood is heavily influenced by your thoughts and your physical actions, including body language. If you literally just start telling yourself that you're feeling happier, you start smiling more, you start walking around and laughing more often, you're just gonna feel happier. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not quite exactly sure why this happens, but your body sends signals to your brain and your brain just begins to think, oh, okay, we're good now. So I guess it's fake it till you make it, but you actually will make it with time. I have in the last 2 months. Other ways to boost serotonin include exercise, specifically cardio. And once again, sticking to a high protein diet, as the chemical called tryptophan is present in a lot of protein and is very important for the production of serotonin in the brain. Now, these are good tips, but of course, the only way for you to begin to change your life and to feel better is to stay away from your addiction. Your natural baselines will begin to improve and reset themselves with time. These tips are things that you're going to have to be doing every day in order to feel the effects, so it's not an easy fix. I've been following these tips and a few more for the last 60 days, and I'm never going to get that 10 out of 10 feeling of hitting a jackpot and winning big, but I'm also not getting those 1 out of 10 or 0 out of 10 days where I'm just sitting around depressed, sad because I've lost money or because I've lied and manipulated or anything of the sort. Things are much better living in a healthy range like a normal person, and that's something that can be accomplished as your neurotransmitter levels begin to reset with time. Every day that you stay away from your addiction, you're giving your body a chance to recover. The timeline is different for everyone, but I've read anything from 21 to 90 days for you to reset these neurochemical baselines. It could be more than that, it could be less than that, I don't know, but I do know that every single day that you're off the bet, you're off the drink, you're off the drug, will help you, and you will move closer and closer to living the life that you want to live. Thank you for watching this far into the video. I hope these tips are things you can use in your daily life to become the version of yourself that you want to be. They've given me a solid baseline to work with, and I feel like they're beginning to finally pay dividends about 2 months in. Let's keep getting better together, one day at a time. Thank you.